Welcome to Location Confused. Two friends, too many countries, and no idea what day it is. We talk nomad life, travel stories, and everything people don't tell you about living this way.
This is mostly us chatting and gabbing, so let's start.
Hey, hey. Hola.
Hey. Hola. Buenos noches for you. Buenos dias for me.
What's up, Heather? Where are you at?
So I am still in Buenos Aires, Argentina. And you, where are you coming to us from, Kayleigh?
I'm still in Vietnam. I am now in Hoi An, and this is my last week in Vietnam. I'm going to make my way back to the States via Europe.
Nice.
I got a long haul next week, baby. It's going to be long.
How long is the flight?
Honestly, I think it's 14 hours, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Hong Kong to Zurich. And then I'm getting on a train, a 9-hour train ride to Berlin.
But I love a train. I do love a train.
I do love a train.
Like, give me a train over a bus any day.
You know, it was, if I wouldn't mind it at all. 9 hours is fine. It's one long haul after another. I booked it and then I was like, shoot, I need to get to Berlin. Cost-wise, I don't think it was, I think to change my ticket was going to be like more than just booking the train. And it had another stop. So I think I would get in at the same time. I'll just get on a train and not have to worry about another connection.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes, at least with a train, like, I feel like you can get up and walk around more than you can with a plane.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you don't have turbulence and stuff that you have to, where you don't know how long you're going to actually have to be strapped in for. So you can still move around, walk around, do all of that. So I feel like, I mean, I love a train. So I've never done that long of a train. I think the longest train ride I've done is about 3 hours, which, as a North American who loves a road trip, sitting for 3 hours, I'm like, that's easy.
It's nothing.
Nothing. And even a 9-hour, some people would be like, oh my God, that's insane. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't have to drive though.
Exactly.
On a train.
I'll pick a train.
And you can work. You can work while you're on the.
I understand. The reason we don't have them in the US is I can't even get started, but it's freaking capitalism. That's basically what it is. Yeah. So it would be amazing to have bullet train. And you don't have to go from like California to New York, whatever, but like hit a couple states in the South and, and you're there and it would just be great. Almost kind of like border the US and,
let's start a petition.
Perfect.
Let's start a petition of everybody who's in on the train. Who's here for it? How can we make that happen in North America? Let's try to make that a thing.
Yeah. Let's get rid of cars. It's funny. I got in a argument with someone on Facebook the other day. God, I sound
of all
old.
Places.
Yeah.
My God.
What I posted was like so innocent. It was our airport is expanding. The Charleston airport is getting another terminal, and it said something about like maybe more parking. I can't remember what it was. News source posted it. And I wrote underneath and I was like, cool, now let's get an easy way to get downtown, because the rideshare line coming out of that airport is, I'm not kidding, 20 to 40 people deep at one point. I've taken the public bus before just for research. It took me 2 hours. It's a 20-minute ride, but it took me 2 hours because it stops in all the places. It goes all around.
Not a direct.
They used to have an airport shuttle that was $15 flat fee, and it would go anywhere downtown Charleston. And the peninsula is not that big. It's like 4 miles by 2 miles, maybe. It's really small. So that made sense. You just have to sit and wait for the shuttle to fill up and it drops you off anywhere. And they stopped advertising that or doing that as much. And it's just really frustrating. I was like, look at this carbon footprint. You can definitely tell the tourists are probably going within a mile of where I live. And I'm like, why aren't we all sharing a ride? So this Facebook warrior was like, that doesn't make sense. His name was Don, so he probably has a Southern accent. He was like, your argument's invalid. And I was like, I'm trying to do something for everyone. And then this other Karen warrior, oh, please, like you would ever take a bus. And I was like, I do. I didn't know this was going to be a he versus she argument. I'm just trying to do something for the locals.
I thought this was common ground, guys. I thought that we all had an understanding that this was a problem.
I was really like, just make it easier to get from the airport. That is wild. And someone was like, oh, I just always ask a friend, blah, blah, blah. Good for you, Dawn. I guess I don't have that many friends. So yeah, bring trains back.
Yeah.
Public transportation. I love public transportation.
I've taken a train a few times I've done it in China, I've done it in Europe, and I just love it. It's pricey. I know it's expensive. It is a price I'm willing to pay. You can
Yeah.
work, you can get stuff done. The ones that I've been on, I know that what I'm comparing it to is obviously not what every single train is. I'm aware that I have minimal train experience, but the trains that I've had that I've been on, I'm just in love with them. And I, once again, so much prefer it to a bus.
Yeah.
I hate a bus. Hate a bus, guys. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I know people are gonna disagree with me, and that's okay. I'm comfortable with
Yeah.
that.
I like a bus. Honestly, the buses in Europe are pretty good. Like Flixbus is pretty good. There are some that it honestly depends on the other people around you.
So, maybe that's what it is. I had harrowing experiences when I was in college going from my college city to my hometown, and I
Yeah.
had awful experiences, which I don't even wanna share because 'cause it was gross, it was not good, it was not it. Taking, like, a Greyhound bus from the city that I was from to my hometown, and it would be, like, a 4-hour ride, and it was harrowing. It was awful.
I wouldn't take a bus in the US. I will take it in any other country, mostly. I wouldn't take
To
one
be clear, we're
here
not
or
talking
in the
about, like,
US.
city buses. We're talking about, like, long distance buses. I think that
Long
that's
distance, yeah.
important. I've no issues with public transit. I love a public transit in a city. It's the long distance that I've had rough experiences with.
The ones in Asia on,
Mhm.
like, One2Go Asia or whatever, I did one from Singapore to Malaysia, and it was about 4 hours, was crossing the border. I'm not kidding, that was the biggest seat I've ever sat in.
Rea
I could extend my legs all the way out and not touch the seat in front of me. It was like a twin mattress size, 2 chairs. It was so big. It was crazy. I was like, "Why is this so comfortable? Why am I only going 4 hours? Let's keep going."
Okay, I need to pick my chin off the floor here because that is not what I expected.
Yeah, well,
Maybe I
you're
need
thinking of
to
the
do more
sleeper buses.
buses.
The sleeper buses in, like in Vietnam and Thailand, the sleeper buses I've heard are kinda tough because, yes, you can lay down, but generally, you're sharing a bed with someone else.
Okay.
You know, the tour buses, like the tour bus,
Yeah, you've got, like, a little pod.
beds?
They're
Yeah,
it's like little
or like a
pods.
yeah, like a hostel, but that's in half, and then it can be someone random if you don't know. So, I've never done the overnight sleeper bus in Asia, but I do know that's one of the fears is someone's feet can be laying right here next to you while that 16-hour bus ride. Other than that, the buses in Asia have been great. I took so many buses in Europe. I only had really one not great experience, but there was a homeless man that was actively shitting. He got on the bus. I don't know, we didn't talk about this.
No, we didn't know.
It's one
I
of
would
those
have
things that was
remembered
like,
actively shitting. I would
yeah,
have remembered that phrase.
my friend came to Portugal to visit me for Christmas. So I was like, none of this happens when no one else is here. But the time someone visits, there was a train strike.
Mhm.
Our train never came, so we figured it out, got on a bus. We had to go from basically Lisbon to Porto. Got on a bus. This guy got on, obviously homeless, drunk, had a ticket, and then like was mumbling his way back into the back, and he actively smelled like shit. Someone went and told the bus driver, but like, what is he gonna do? And then he
Mm.
fell asleep, and it smelled so bad, and I was like, "Sorry, Emma, like this is gonna like this is what you remember." That
Okay.
was the worst. The bus itself was like clean and nice and had a bathroom,
Mhm.
but it all depends
It
on the
is a
people
luck of
around
the
you.
draw, right? As far as, like, who you're on that bus with. So this may make the pot, it may not. This is gross, so maybe skip the X amount of moments. But, the harrowing experience, the one that I had, I was on this Greyhound bus from college to Toronto, so London to Toronto, Ontario. That was like a 2.5-hour bus ride with a guy throwing up into a clear
Mm,
bag beside me for
no.
2.5 hours.
Oh my gosh.
And there was no other seats because it was a straight, like, it didn't stop other places. So it was just a straight line. And I had to sit beside this man vomiting into a clear bag 2.5 hours.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
was also 18. So I didn't want to make a scene. And I had the window seat. So I was also cornered. I couldn't get
Yeah,
out. Oh, harrowing.
that's brutal.
Harrowing.
Brutal. Oh, that's the worst. Vomit is the worst.
Right? And I get it. Like motion sickness, I get, dude. Maybe this isn't the mode of transportation for you. Or sit closer to the front because you can see. And that usually helps people with motion sickness, being able to make sure you get a window seat so you can look at the window. Like, I don't know what you need to do to resolve that
Yeah.
issue. This was not the solution. But I mean, also, people need to get places. So,
Yeah.
what is the solution? Maybe take
Maybe he was going to a
pill.
hospital to figure out why he's vomiting.
Maybe. It was atrocious. It was awful. Oh,
Crazy.
we'll never
Gosh.
forget that. We'll never forget that experience. That's one that's singed into my memory banks. Sorry if that made it in.
It'll make it in.
I like how this is not what we were planning on talking about at all, but we're talking about travel experiences as far as how you get from point A to point B. Get into it.
No, we love public transportation, but however,
here's our awful
I'm
experiences.
like, this is great, but
I've also had really great experiences where I've met really
Yeah.
nice people.
I was in Mexico a few years ago and I was going from one airport to another or one airport to my hotel or something. And, it was one of those, again, a free public bus that gets you from A to B. And I was like, wow, what a concept. So I get on the bus and it drops off at this corner. And I think that corner is where I needed to get off or something. And the guy was nice enough. I am clearly one of the only people not from Mexico on that bus. But the guy was nice enough. It was dark out. And he was like, no, you don't stop here. You keep walking. Like walk into that hotel right there. He was like, hey, we don't need you outside.
Yeah,
So
you're back.
that was nice. And then I was in Turkey on a bus, and we may have talked about Turkey, but Turkey has the male gaze is very strong in Turkey. And I will say one of my first experiences was the airport on the public bus that gets you downtown Istanbul, and there was a vending machine, and it was in the middle of the bus, and I was so thirsty, and so I had currency, and I put it in there, and then it just didn't work, and like everyone's like looking at you, and you're like you just like want to go sit down, and you're like, never mind, I don't need that. I was just donating the money, like it's fine. And this one guy, he went in and he put something else and he got it for me. And he's like, here. Like I was like, people are so kind.
Yeah.
Because I was probably like, you know what? Can we stop? Can I just get off the bus now? Like I've embarrassed myself in front of all these people that I'll never see again. Like,
Yeah, let me just like crawl into my suitcase
I was like,
and disappear.
I don't know why I'm here. Yeah. I was just, all right, bye.
I have to share this Uber experience that I had the other day. So we've gone from now planes, trains, buses. We've now moved on to automobiles. So I took an Uber the other day, and I love the Ubers here. The Uber drivers are so nice. This was genuinely the sweetest man that I've gotten into an Uber with here. So I get into the Uber. I'm taking Spanish lessons. We've talked about this. So I've got like very, very small amount of Spanish at my disposal because I'm learning a new language is hard. Who knew? So, and this guy didn't speak any English. So I get in, I speak minuscule Spanish. He speaks minuscule English. And at one point in time, I Google translated so that way I could understand what he was saying, got him to speak into it. Anyways. And so he realizes that I don't speak English or that I don't speak Spanish. And then he just turns to me and he's like, Bon Jovi? Bon Jovi? And I was like, yeah, Bon Jovi's fine. So then he blasts Living on a Prayer for me.
Amazing.
I can't talk to you, but you know what I can do? Bon Jovi. And why Bon Jovi? He knew that I was Canadian. Bon Jovi's not Canadian. But he's like, this is the song for you, girl. You look like you love a Bon Jovi. And we were listening to beautiful Spanish music before that, which I had no issues with. But he was like, I got you, girl. Let's blast that Bon Jovi for you. So then, and I was like, this is such a beautiful experience. Just the sweetest man to try to make sure I was as comfortable as possible in this Uber. He's like, let me give you what I think is the music of your homeland.
It's like 5-star rating.
100%. I gave him an extra tip because I was like, you were just the sweetest.
Yeah. That reminds me of an Uber in Germany. That was 2 years ago, almost 2 years, when Ashley and I went and saw Taylor Swift. And I was like, all about, let's take a metro, let's go. And she's like, I'm getting an Uber and I'm paying for it, so we're going. Okay, it's fine. So we get in the Uber and, we're decked out, and there's a bunch of people decked out. The guy driving the Uber was not German, and he was like, all these people for one person." We're like, "Yeah, for one singer." And he goes, "Does she only sing to women?" And I was like, "Yeah, pretty much."
Nailed it.
And then he didn't know who she was. And so he gave me his phone, and I typed her name in YouTube. And as we're pulling up, she's on the radio. We're like, "This is her. This is her on the radio." And it was because it was such a small town. She played in football stadiums. Oh my God, there's one person in the world that does not know who Taylor Swift is. That was cool. I always think too of like Ubers and Grabs in Asia. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if people know, if you've never been to Asia, the easiest way to get around is by motorbike. It's called Grab, but if you've never been here, you're like, how do I get around? I don't know how many rides I've taken that are less than $1 because it's just so
Yeah.
cheap.
I always, I love a Grab. I always find it really funny when the Grab driver, when you're in places where it's really busy, there's lots of noise, and they're like, this is the perfect time to try to have a conversation with you on a
Yeah.
motorbike.
Where are you from?
Yeah, where are you from? How long
Yeah.
are you staying? What have you done while
Yeah.
you've been here? I'll come to my family's house and I'll make you breakfast. Always this conversation. And it's just so funny because, sir, I can barely hear you. This is not the time for us
Yeah.
to build
I
relationships,
have
but
no
I
idea.
appreciate you. I appreciate the solid
It's always
attempt.
like, "Oh, we're like America. America, California." Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
obviously.
Yeah, that's fine. Because you will tell me where you're from here, and I will have no idea. So we're even on that. Like,
100%.
yeah.
I always find it interesting, like when I was in Bali, the amount of people that didn't know where Canada was, I was surprised. And so, like, they
interesting.
knew the States, they knew the US, but they didn't know where Canada was. So I had to be like, on top of the States, on top of USA. And then they'd be like, oh, that's far, that's far. So it was always so funny because I was like, how do I describe where my country is located if you don't know where it is on the map?
Should we end this episode with a joke? I have a joke.
I love a joke. Please.
Okay. I met a Canadian last night from Toronto,
Okay.
and he said, "How do you spell Canada with 3 letters?" You haven't heard this one? I'm so excited. C-A? Wait. C-A? Wait. What do you say? Canada A? So you always end everything with A. So C-A-N-A-D-A? Does it make sense to you?
Yeah, because it's
When I say
It's
it
that is
doesn't
a
make any
dad
sense.
joke. That is such a dad joke.
Yeah.
I always find that funny though, because I don't really say A. I've heard a lot of Canadians say hey, like an H-E-Y, which it depends on where in Canada you're from, because that's more common, I think, in the prairies.
He's from Montreal, not Toronto. I was sitting at a bar, and then he was up at the bar and whatever. He goes, "Are you from Canada?" And I was like, "Oh no, that's really nice." I was like, "That's really nice to say." And he was like, "Oh, he goes, I haven't heard you say big yet or whatever." And I was like, I said, "No, I'm from the States." He's like, "Oh, are you from like the North?" "No." I said, "But I was just editing a podcast, and my co-host is Canadian, literally right before I came here. So maybe I took some of her dialect with me."
You've got the Canadian accent happening now, accidentally.
Yeah. I was like, nice, sweet. So, all right. Well, planes, trains, and automobiles and motorbikes.
Yep.
That was our.
That's
That was the
it for
episode.
today. That's our accidental
Yeah.
topic for today. Love that.
Yeah. If anyone has a worse transportation story for us, please let us know. Like, I would love to know the horror stories.
Share it. Let's
Yeah.
all start a trauma bonding experience where we, trauma bond on the different transportation experiences that we've had in the comments. Please share them.
Yeah. And I'll take the transportation again.
Oh, 100%. I'm not stopping. I still got to get from point A to point B. That still has to happen.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for hanging out with us. Truly.
If this episode made you laugh, think, or feel slightly more normal,
Share it with a friend who's also a little location confused.
you can find us on Instagram at Location Confused.
And don't forget to follow or subscribe so you don't miss future episodes,
We'll see you next time.
wherever we are.